there's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
And welcome back to the Thunder Rooster podcast. My name is Ron.
And I am Paul.
And today we're back and we are going to talk about UFOs. There's lots of interesting things going down this little rabbit hole.
Unidentified flying objects, Ron. They're everywhere.
I know. The main reason for kicking this up today, though, is the Pentagon had released some classified documents, declassifying them, and came out flat out said we have some unearthly vehicles, materials. I don't remember if it said vehicles, but
they said it's real.
I mean, they're showing the clips and everything.
As real as can be.
And I think a lot of the UFO topics get frowned upon because there's so much, I don't know, just negativity.
There's stigma because, again, it kind of goes back to, do they believe or not?
Right.
There's movies, there's propaganda, there's word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And all this time, we were told no. And
Doesn't
what
exist.
just came out?
Right.
It's real.
Just how, like, the government completely denied the fact of Area 51 being there.
Oh, of course.
I mean, rumors of Area 51 have been around since, mid-'80s. I mean, it started out in the 40s with the CIA air base, and then in the 50s it moved to, like, they're testing nukes, nuclear bombs and stuff like that out in their area. And then ultimately ended up being, like, a test range for new spy planes and secretive projects. But, I mean, the whole thing with Area 51 kind of got brought in with Bob Lazar speaking up about it in '89.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what blew it open. And ever since then, anybody ask anything about the government or to the government about Area 51 doesn't exist.
Nope.
And then finally, in 2003, they finally recognized that it was a real place, but still won't release anything regarding it. Not a thing.
Nope. Why would they want to? Right.
I mean, the testing thing, and that's a great cover for any little secretive base area, for anything, It's just a testing place.
Well, like you said, that particular spot at Area 51, it's all desert,
mm-hmm.
and they're going to test bombs, nukes, anything.
Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with their flight things. Like, I know the SR-71 Blackbird, it started its trial run out there. And also the U-2 spy plane started out there. I love jets.
No, of course you don't love jets.
Well, let's start at the beginning. I wanted to see. Now I know, like watching Ancient Aliens and stuff like that, they'll say, we've been having signs of UFOs forever in art and everything. They'll be like, I'll insert the picture here, but there's a painting that looks like there's a UFO in the background. And maybe not, but I went ahead and went with the first report from America, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. But it was by a Kenneth Arnold, and it was up in Washington State. He was up flying between some mountain ranges, and he came across a UFO. And, he described it as a saucer-like shaped plane or thing. And I think they had one other pilot up in the air that witnessed it as well. But they ended up having everybody on the ground find it on radar. And it was quickly picked up by newspapers, flying saucers. The thing that's very interesting about this is the fact that 2 weeks later, the Roswell crash happened. 2 weeks after this first report. And then down saucer out in Roswell, New Mexico. Do you know much about Roswell?
Not too much.
Okay, so this all took place in 1947. The Roswell crash happened in July, and like I said earlier, the 2 weeks before it actually happened was when Kenneth Arnold's sighting was reported. But so the saucer crashed in Roswell. A lot of the community went to go check it out, and they have, of course, you have first responders and everything coming up, and they actually released in a paper the very next day, down saucer. Like, I don't know, I don't remember if it said alien ship or anything like that, but the people who were there actually, said that they found bodies of... They didn't say alien, but it was...
Could have been.
Very odd looking. They were about the size of a 12-year-old boy. Large head, big eyes, slits for the nose and the mouth, ears. Had 4 fingers. And very skinny. I don't know what to believe there.
No.
But the thing of it is the military rushed in. And they picked up everything they could, whisked it away to a local hangar.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't remember the exact place, but I do remember it was Hangar 84.
Not Hangar 18?
Right. But they had it there, and they ended up shipping it off to Dayton, the Air Force Base there in Dayton. And then ultimately, it's believed that it ended up in Area 51. There's no way to prove that, but...
Right, there's no evidence.
I'm just going off of what I found. But the way that they tried to spin it was saying that it was an air balloon that crashed. An air balloon from the 1940s it was a giant air balloon, basically, that was made up of neoprene rubber.
Okay.
And the military officials that they sent down were top dogs. They're heading the big missions and everything like that. So to say that the top ranking military guys that were there couldn't decipher from a flying saucer and a weather balloon.
I don't believe that. A little fishy, don't you think?
Well, highly unlikely.
Yeah. Of course.
We have many sightings, and there's video out there. A lot of it's not real. A lot of people have a lot of fun with their CGI. When did you hear first about UFOs?
Probably just watching, sci-fi programs, maybe just hearing news as a kid.
Independence Day.
Of course, Independence Day.
They're all coming over. Taking it all over.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things you see the stuff in pop culture, and you see different types of movies, or just and it was kind of one of those fascinating things. Again, it was just people just didn't know.
Yeah.
I preferably say that I think we're surrounded by aliens, don't you?
It certainly seems like that. I know we work with a few people I have a little questions about, but it's neither here nor there. Something I found very interesting. I know we have all kinds of pop culture references. I mean, the flying saucer that kicked off, and that's spawned so many things of cartoons, comic books, sci-fi stories, and I guess from just that little bit from the Roswell incident, that led on this giant spike, because from then on, you got short little gray alien, big head, big eyes, slits for mouth, nose, and ears. I don't know about the finger thing. I think Paul from the movie.
I was just going to ask you, did Paul have 4 fingers?
I think so. Love that movie.
Thank you, Seth Rogen.
We're going to show a little clip of Paul, just in case you don't know what we're talking about for our YouTube viewers. We'll insert that right here because I don't have it pulled up.
Going, girl! Leave us alone, you stupid vaginas! There's no way for a pretty little thing like you to talk! She's fairly new to it, to be honest. Leave this to me or I'll talk to them.
Yo, fuck nuts! It's probing time.
But something that I found, I had no idea about, but I came across it in my research with this, is there was actually a patent on what we know as a UFO. And I'll show you a little clip. I'll pull it up. But his name was Alexander Wenger. He patented, I believe, in 1944. But I'll go ahead and pull that up. We'll check it out.
During his hunt into Weiger's life, Randy discovered something extraordinary. Hand-drawn designs for an exotic aircraft dating back to the 1920s. Alex appeared to have invented the very first flying saucer.
That was an amazing find in itself. When I saw the blueprints,
Weigers called his futuristic flying machine the Discopter. Designed to take off vertically and float on a cushion of air, it was a unique concept, and one he thought cities of the future would make full use of. Weigers patented the Discopter in 1944 and then tried to sell it.
But yeah, he was drawing those things back in the 20s. And then... Excuse me.
Bless you.
That was coming out of nowhere. Anyways.
That thing is fascinating. I want one.
Right. Why isn't that the city now? This is the stuff the Jetsons dreamed of, you know. Which also, within watching that, because that's a part of like a little Bloomberg special or whatever. And I watched the whole thing, and I'm pretty surprised to see, you know, all kinds of stuff replicated to look like that. You know, the Air Force themselves came out with a disc-type flying vehicle that looked almost exactly like that. It didn't pan out, right? But
because the insurance was too high?
No, it's just I don't think it got maybe 20 foot off the air before it wouldn't go any further.
That's a fail. No good.
But most of the UFOs that you see, just their motion, their speeds, it just disregards all laws that we have for physics here on Earth. And I don't know. I really don't know what to think sometimes with this. It's kind of hard to really take a stab at it.
And then when people post videos, most of the times they just look like, you know, just a blinking light.
Right.
Unless you're very lucky and somebody gets something captured and it's just within split seconds.
Yeah.
Because they're there and they're gone in no time.
So, after the Roswell incident happened, the Air Force came up with Project Blue Book in 1952. And they were basically, the government's basically investigating every report of a UFO. Now, 97% of all the cases they looked into could be easily dismissed. But that other percent that, yep, that's an unidentified
still
flight
missing
object.
on one.
Right.
They're definitely missing on that one.
You know, we have some pretty big events that I remember throughout the years. You know, you had the Phoenix lights, had like a flying V pattern of 9 lights just hover over the city. The mayor himself was a witness to it, and so many thousands of people. And the only thing that got explained to about it was the government tried to say that, oh, they were doing some kind of flare things or whatever. But you know, I saw videos of how those work, and then saw the videos of the Phoenix lights, and It's like, yeah, that's not how it works.
So I don't know if some of our listeners are aware of this, but you actually, you lived in Nevada for quite some time.
I did.
I mean, now with you being there, I mean, did you, did the locals, I mean, did you hear a lot about Area 51? Why were you there? Or did anyone actually, were they really concerned? Was it discussed? I mean, it's a pretty big deal out in that area, I think.
Not really. I obviously was interested in it.
Sure.
So, I would meet a bunch of people who are like, have you ever got up there?
Like, let's go.
And you get people that, you could clearly tell they were lying. It's like, oh, I used to work there. Or, I knew a guy. My uncle used to, you could get a lot of that. And it's just people just trying to say shit to make you like them. But, yeah, my bullshit meter would go off really hard. But I saw a lot of the aircraft that would take the workers there back and forth. There are Boeing 747s. They have 6 of them on rotation, and it's called Janet Airlines. Doesn't say anything. They are big white planes with a red stripe down the sides of them. Have no markings whatsoever on them. And all the windows are like either heavily tinted or glossed over, like you can't see anything in the windows. But there's certain times of the day that they'll take off and come back and land, and they'll pick up people. I think they have like 122 people, I think, go at a time, back and forth. And that's how they do it. Or I also heard that, people that live closer around the actual base, they'll have people meet in a town close by, hop on like a charter bus type thing, and they'll just drive them straight in. But yeah, I really wanted to go, and I'm really kicking myself in the ass for not going the entire time I was out there.
And how long were you out there for?
I only lived there for a year.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Plenty of time to realize I didn't want to be in Vegas anymore.
I don't blame you. I won't either.
Love going back, but only for like a week or two. Tops.
Good.
But yeah, I guess we can talk about one of the key players in this kind of thing, and the whole reason it kind of popped up was, I guess you want to say, the vindication of the man who's been telling the story for 30 years, and
a true hero. I'll call him the GOAT right now, all day. I mean,
we were talking about Bob Lazar. Mentioned him a little earlier, but he blew the whistle back in the late 80s. A local reporter in Vegas picked him up. His name's George Knapp. He's done a lot of awesome reporting things, won a bunch of Emmys, daytime Emmys, I guess. But he really took a liking to the story, and I guess you'd say he pretty much believes Bob Lazar. I know he has his doubts with it.
And it's like, the ratings just for what was going on, just state of Nevada. I mean, people were tuning in every night.
Oh, yeah.
Once all this information was released back at that point.
I think the only reason why it got as big as it did is because of all the attention they were getting from it. I mean, the ratings, like you said, they just skyrocketed just from the first episode of it. And they shot it of him in a van just outside somewhere. But let me go ahead and we'll show you this little clip of Bob Lazar. So for those who don't know, check it out. I apologize to the people listening. You can go over to our YouTube channel, check it out.
My name's Bob Lazar. I'm known for working at a classified base and reverse engineered alien spacecraft.
We can't verify what was going on in his background.
I have no motivation to lie.
The science and the technology can change us.
We've always looked to the skies for answers instead of looking into ourselves.
That was a little clip from the documentary trailer of Area 51 and unidentified flying objects. Trying to remember who put that documentary out.
Starts with an N?
I'm going to insert that here. I gotta love editing.
I know, right?
But so, Bob Lazar comes out, and of course he's ridiculed for it. But the reason why he came out about it was he was going to lose his job. He says in the documentary that he came out because he thinks the world should know about it and everything. But I honestly think he was fearful for his life because he didn't know what was going to go on. I think what had happened was he was going to lose his job because, we'll say they bugged his phone. He would be away at Area 51 for months at a time, weeks or months. And he was married at the time. And I guess they found out that the wife was having an affair with Bob or with some kind of pilot, and that kind of read as an unstable thing. So I don't quite remember if they told him about it or he found out, but that came a thing, and all the stuff that he had known kind of shot him into like, oh crap, I gotta do something. Plus he got caught taking his friends in an RV, mind you, out to the outskirts of Area 51 where they could show them testing out the UFO that they had. Now, Bob Lazar claims that there are 9 recovered aircraft, UFOs, at Area 51. One of them which was an archaeological find. They dug it up.
Some crazy stuff right there.
I mean, kind of makes some sense, There's a lot of questions that are unanswered, and I mean, they might still be unanswered in our lifetimes, but hopefully they'll find something out one day. But I don't know. I listened to Bob Lazar. I honestly, I don't see him telling the lie about it. Like, he seems like he's genuinely.
I mean, the guy's a genius. He went to MIT.
Right.
Okay. Not many people even get to even know some of the information that's going on in a lot of different government sanctions. I mean, Area 51 in itself, you have to have clearance.
Yeah.
Like on all different type of government jobs.
And it's majestic clearance. That's the top one.
I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming maybe if it got to that point where all of these bad things come out, or it's, you're just, you're trying to do your work and you have this kind of hovering over your head.
Yeah.
Not just any little typical problem. It's an Earth problem. I mean, All
right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
I don't know. Area 51, right? Area 51. You knew then, and you did nothing.
Sir, regardless of what you may have read in the tabloids, there have never been any spacecraft recovered by our government. Take my word for it. There's no Area 51. There's no recovered spaceship.
Excuse me, Mr. President. That's not entirely accurate.
All right, we're back. Hope you enjoyed that little clip. But I'm going to talk a little more about Bob Lazar. A lot of problems that came with Bob Lazar's stories when people went and looked into it. Not much of a story panned out. Here's the thing with Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar was an interesting child. Started out putting rocket engines on bicycles.
I wish I was that smart.
Right?
Because I'd have one.
Yeah, totally. I probably would have made my own little fighter jet, but could you imagine? But
no, I can't.
Something that got him discovered was the fact that he had put a jet engine on a Honda car, and he got picked up from that. Like, that's how he kind of got discovered. But like we said before, he went to MIT and Caltech, according to him. But when you go to look into it, you can't find a single document saying that he went to school there, or he was working at Los Alamos before getting picked up and sent over to Area 51, which actually he wasn't officially working at Area 51. It was a little subdivision of Area 51, same kind of area out in Groom Lake, but it was called S4.
Mm-hmm.
And they went and they could find people that he'd worked with. He actually took, I believe, George Knapp. I could be wrong on that, but actually took somebody to Los Alamos.
Mm-hmm.
They let him in, didn't security check him. Everybody waved to people, and he knew his way around the place, and he'd been there before. They did, however, find I guess a little, what do you call it, like a list of employees and such, and I guess their extensions and whatnot. Maybe, I think it was a phone thing. I don't even know. I'm not very well equipped for this little section of the Bob Lazar area, but they found his name, and that's literally the only thing that he can really point to and say. They have coworkers and stuff that he'd worked with that I guess don't want to be associated with the stigmatism with Bob Lazar, so they don't want to go out in public and say, I worked with this guy. Something I think is pretty amazing in the documentary is the little hand scanner that he described at S4. And at the time they're like, that doesn't exist. It scans your bones in your hand. What? And then sure enough, after years and years, I guess 30 years, and sure enough, guy has a picture of it. Was this what you were talking about? Oh my God. I never thought I'd see this again.
Shocking.
That was another one of those vindicating moments for him, I guess. But, yeah, guy's pretty crazy. Got anything?
I was just going to say, kind of elaborating a little bit more on S4.
Yeah.
So as far as that was just a specifically secret site at Area 51 to do testing.
Right.
Correct.
From what I gather, it's into part of a mountain where even now where you can do the whole Google Maps thing and look down and stuff. The entrance to the S4 area is basically meant to look and has texture on the doors and stuff of it as if it's just part of the mountain. Yeah.
That's so creepy. Got secret compartments. I mean.
But something I remember, I couldn't find the clip for the life of me because I wanted to refresh my mind about it. But I do remember Bob Lazar telling a story, and it was either some kind of show segment or maybe an old part of his earlier release documentary type stuff. But I remember them saying when he got to S4, and they basically had the place sectioned off where you had two people grouped together, and they compartmentalized everybody. So he would never know if the information that they're giving to them was legit or not, because having it split off so many ways like that, I guess it'd be easy to figure out anybody trying to pull a fast one, if you just slide in some disinformation here and there. But the interesting thing I remember from that was he was talking to his lab partner at the time, and I guess the guy he replaced got a little too cavalier with, I guess, the element 115, and it caused a little mini explosion. I guess the dude died. The way he was saying it, I really wish I knew where it was, but it was kind of funny. But I don't know. I have trouble wrapping my mind around.
It's he brings this information out. We're trying to make sure he's got credibility, but then yet he served some time in jail.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, from the little security system for the brothel or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't think brothels were legalized at the time. Was it?
I don't think so either.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're illegal, and I don't want to say the whole state of Nevada. I think it's like, if I remember correctly, I think it's the population of whatever county has to be under a certain number. Which I don't understand that. If you're going to make it legal everywhere else in the state, why? Especially in Vegas, where it happens out in front of your face. You know, you get out there, you got a line of people with like little flip cards and stuff with naked women on it. You know, people getting them, throwing them on the ground. Little kids picking them up. Hey, mommy, what's this? I saw that way too much.
But considering the fact that, you know, he's celebrated as, this, I mean, he was a physicist. I mean, as far as just coming up with these plans, I mean, the guy really was ahead of his time. Yeah. What I thought was very fascinating within the documentary was where the period where he was kind of closing himself off. I mean, this is heavy stuff. You know, he's got to keep this in. He can't tell anybody. I mean, it's classified information. Mm-hmm. But yet he almost kind of, it felt like he kind of put himself where he wanted to forget it.
Yeah.
Not really having recollection of what he saw, what he worked on. And then it's like, he went to a hypnosis. And just the fact that he was able to reiterate all that information, he just pulls a pad out and starts sketching furiously.
Right.
It's like, and it was just like a light switch that went on. But he had no recollection all that time because he just wanted to block it out. I don't blame him. I do the same thing. But literally within that instance, it's like I was blown away that he remembered every detail of every part of that saucer and was able to put in the compartments about here's where, where it's going to access fuel. Here's where it's going to, shoot. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, there was a few spots that he was fishy on because, like you were saying earlier, they kind of grouped people in for certain sections and stuff. And luckily he was trying, he was found on the whole jet propulsion thing. They're basically, seems like they were just trying to get somebody who's outside the box to come in and be like, this guy was putting jet engines on stuff when he was a kid, maybe he's got a different approach to it.
Mm-hmm.
So got him in there, and I really thought it was cool how he was explaining how the propulsion system would work on one of those. And basically he was saying that it had to do with gravity. It had these little compulsion systems that would pretty much, I don't know if he said it was like negative gravity or it would bend gravity or something like that, but basically an example that they gave was like put a bowling ball on a bed and then go stand on the bed and the bowling ball just fall on
That's crazy.
So I guess the way he was explaining it is the way that the UFOs would move is their engines would bend the gravity, so it was basically falling wherever direction they wanted it to go.
And I never really realized it either, because you would see the saucer, it'd be level, you'd think it would just shoot up, but yet it would.
Well, a lot of the military recordings that that we see, it seems like the ships are moving sideways. The ones that look like discs or whatever.
Yeah.
The Tic Tac one that Commander Fravor, got out there about. He was one of the F-18 pilots that was chasing after the ones that were in San Diego. And apparently, this happened in 2004, but they knew that they were out there for weeks. And they finally, some guys went and finally intercepted it, and that's what we got that footage and stuff found. A little bitty Tic Tac looking thing. I don't know what size it actually was, but I mean, the way it was moving, there's no way anybody has that kind of stuff here.
No, there's no technology like this. No one saw anything like that, and still to this day, I don't think many people even believe it. But
I mean, a lot of people want to pass it off as like, well, China or Russia probably has something like that, and it's like, I don't know.
Let's go ask them.
Right, but that's the thing too. It's like, you have heads of state that come out and they're really trying to figure out what it is. Could it be a ruse? Be like, well, we got it. I don't know. I think I don't know where I'm going with that, but
it doesn't matter if we retract now. It's all real.
Yeah.
Close Encounters, it's here.
It's really just one of those head scratchers. I mean, what does that mean for us? I mean,
what does it mean for humanity?
Yeah. I mean, think about the technological leaps and bounds we've came.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, it's probably a giant coincidence, but 3 months after this whole Roswell thing happened, Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier. Just 3 months after that. Coincidence maybe, because I don't think, you can get a whole lot of information based off of 3 months of something you don't know.
Right.
Like they use the little analogy of like taking a cell phone, like an iPhone, and giving it to a caveman or something like that. What are you going to do with it?
You wouldn't know.
Right.
Mm-mm.
But I don't know.
Just the
part of me wants to figure out why, I don't know, why it's kept secret. Why not let people know?
Because maybe people will be afraid of the truth is one. Maybe.
Yeah, I've always heard the whole thing of like a lot of people who are, I guess, atheists. It would come from like an atheist person or something like that, but saying like, if UFOs come out, that means, God's out of the question. Like, all faith ends there. I was like, well, I don't believe so. I think it could be part of it, But again, we could all be just in a simulation.
We could just all be a pawn on the puzzle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We just don't know. What we don't know, we fear.
I gotta ask you though, what is your favorite alien/UFO movie?
Oh, let me think here. I mean, Close Encounters of the Third Kind was a good movie. I definitely enjoyed that.
I actually haven't seen that one. I need to watch that one.
Oh my goodness.
I think my favorite was probably The Fourth Kind.
Yeah.
That one, every time I watch it, I get chills whenever, she's under the hypnosis thing. And at the end, I'm not
or how
gonna
about
lie.
E.T.? We didn't even say anything about E.T.
E.T.
Come on, he's a nice alien.
Yeah, he can phone home all he wants to.
All right, fine.
He's probably on a gurney somewhere in Area 51 with his chest open.
He's waiting for Elliot. Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah. It's just, it's hard. I want to keep bringing it back to Bob Lazar, but I honestly don't have a whole lot to say about it. I just think it sucks that, he was ridiculed for, earlier you said he was, praised for it, but honestly, it wasn't until recently that he started getting praise for any of it, because he had so many people out there discrediting him on everything, and I can see why, because, this is a very out of the ordinary story.
This is top secret info. He sends this out or lets other people know. It's life jeopardy. It's whatever they want to do. The government will do what they do. No questions asked. So I can understand the fact that he pretty much went into hiding or pretty much dropped off the grid. I would do the same thing.
Yeah, he did not want anything to do with it. You had to twist his arm to do any kind of press with this whole thing. I know Jeremy Corbell, who, that's that insert part, Jeremy Corbell, when he was putting together a documentary, he really had to coax him into doing it, And I guess he tapped on that string of like, people need to know about this technology because, the advances we could have on that. Unlimited,
There was a sci-fi show I used to watch in the 80s. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but it was called V.
I did not know about the 80s version, but I do remember when they tried it the second
remake.
time. Yeah.
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
It was definitely cool. But you had the whole idea that you had, well, they call them, when you see them, they look like lizard people now, but the idea was that these visitors is what they call them, came to Earth to help out. Literally their plan was they would come to Earth and say we have technology that can help, cure diseases and fix your economy and work in harmony. We just want to work together. But in the end result, that, it was going to be a survival of the fittest. Right. Here's the next species. And people had to fight back.
Yeah.
Definitely watch it if you have a chance. You'll really enjoy it.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting aspect of it, too, because I remember Stephen Hawking, he was talking about, life out in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
He said you might, be careful what you ask for, because if you do have an intelligent, race of aliens coming here, it's going to be like when Christopher Columbus came over here and wiped out all the Indians.
Survival of the fittest. I mean,
it's not going to look too pretty.
Scary stuff.
On the other hand, part of me wonders, like, I think if there were aliens, that they're probably just walking amongst us. There might have been. I've heard rumors and stuff of conspiracy theories where they're talking about galactic treaties, even kind of thing. And I even remember hearing stories of like galactic wars and everything. And we've got military bases on Mars and the moon already, and man, it's a giant rabbit hole you can get sucked down into at 3 o'clock in the morning. Lizard people.
Ugh.
Time travelers.
Lizard traveling timers. Ugh.
Space Force. It'll be so great. Oh my goodness. Well, I think that's about it on the UFO. You got anything else?
No, I think it's extremely fascinating. It's something that, just as we finally have gotten an answer now that this is real, now people are going to really start to take heart to this, start to go, are they here? Are they among us? Are they all in Washington? I mean,
they might be.
They might all be. I mean, with the way things are, it wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, not to get political here.
Nah,
either way, Trump's an interesting specimen, that's for sure.
Yeah, we'll keep politics out of this. But no, it was very eye-opening, especially now with what had just come out in the news. And definitely I'm going to continue to look into these kind of things. And who knows, maybe one day we'll have an experience. We don't know.
Maybe disclosure is finally going to be around the corner.
Could be.
I mean, if they're doing this and releasing, like, hey, there's vehicles and materials that didn't come from this planet, and we have them. If they're going to do that, why not go full on? Maybe they're just going to release a little at a time. I really think that's probably the smartest thing. It's kind of like boiling a frog. You ever hear that analogy?
Yep. Oh, boy.
Raise the temperature just slowly, and sure enough.
See what happens.
But yeah, I guess that's going to do it for this one. Sorry for the little spottiness of this one. I kind of threw this one at Paul a little late in the game. So, yeah. We'll get better about this. We're still learning.
Oh, we're good. Oh, we're fine.
All right, guys. We'll catch you around next week. Check out our YouTube channel. The link will be in the description. And hopefully we'll have some t-shirts up. They are in the works, and when this gets released, I'm not sure if they'll be up or not. If not, you'll be checking back on our next episode. All right, guys.
All right. Have a good day. Thanks again.
Later.
Later.
If you think that's strange, you should see how we pee.